Article 2. The renovation that became a political weapon. Category: Report Analysis, ADA and Facilities. Originally published July 8, 2025. Source: YourNews, reproduced here with original context preserved. This article examines how routine ADA accessibility improvements were reframed as misconduct in the 2024 Inspector General Report, despite extensive documentation, landlord involvement, and contractor confirmation. The Inspector General, city attorneys and city leadership ignored 755 pages of communications. This is strictly email between two property managers and excludes maintenance, external companies and external contractors. Part 2 of the evidence, the suppression, the fear to print. In his November 2024 report, former Inspector General James Osuna accused General Registrar Keith Baumer of abusing authority and wasting government resources by greenlighting renovations at the leased Office of Election space. Walls were reconstructed, permits were not pulled, and the landlord's property manager denied knowledge of any renovations. Osuna report, allegation number 14, substantiated. But here's what actually happened. The renovations were conducted to increase ADA accessibility and improve voter access, including installing an ADA-compliant entry door for larger mobility devices, replacing an outdated ramp and unsafe rear parking with ADA-compliant alternatives, refreshing flooring, safety lighting, and workspace accessibility. 700-plus pages of communication show that the property managers, Adam Holbrook and Michelle Dinkins, were involved throughout the project, with clear permissions and dialogue around various stages of the work. No walls were reconstructed. Finish work, light demolition, and maintenance tasks, such as installing the door in place of an obsolete mail slot, were conducted. The door itself was repurposed from a heavy-duty ADA door stored in the basement, creative, compliant, and cost-effective. Contractors stated no permits were required for the work completed. As an election specialist on city payroll, performing and learning the duties of a health and safety officer, I trusted licensed professionals to know permitting requirements. My role was to ensure safety and successful completion, not code compliance oversight. As for whether tenants could conduct improvements, a FOIA request was submitted asking whether the lease agreement was ever reviewed. There's no indication it was. In fact, much of the renovation fell under the tenant's duty to maintain the premises, with some costs negotiated, shared, or deferred with property management. And yes, some invoices were split. That's a process issue, not a criminal one. Contractors billed as tasks were completed. Some work was also directly conducted by Thalheimer's property team, hence no city payment trail for those jobs. Osuna's narrative, that this was some orchestrated plot to deceive, ignores both context and motive. The report painted a picture of willful misconduct. The evidence shows something else entirely: a public office doing the work to better serve voters, while trying to stay afloat in a broken system. This was not fraud, it was function, and that's exactly what made it dangerous to those clinging to dysfunction. More to follow in Part 3. Hold your officials accountable. My FOIA request. From Prince Brian L. Elections. Sent Friday, December 13, 2024, 11:39 a.m. 2. Johnson, Craig SOIG. Subject: FOIA Request 12.13.24, Number 14. 12.13.24. Good morning. The following request falls under the Intergovernmental Waiver of Costs, as this FOIA request is not being made by or in the capacity of a private citizen. This is for independent fact-checking purposes of alleged staff activity. In Item 14 of the Report for Office of Elections, the following claims are made. Building maintenance is the landlord's responsibility. Provide the evidence that the lease agreement was reviewed, as most items are the responsibility of the tenant per the agreement. That the company manager did not approve the work. Provide the evidence that Thalheimer was indeed questioned and whom. Approximately 755 pages of emails exist, saved in multiple formats, that put this claim into question. No building permits. Provide the evidence that shows building permits were required for the type of work conducted. Communication from the contractor clearly states that none were required for the work conducted. Intentional structuring of the work to avoid bidding and intentional split orders. As jobs were merely paid as completed satisfactorily, please provide the evidence to show deliberate intent. Sincerely, Brian Prince, HSO, OOE Technology and Security Department. Response to my FOIA. From Johnson, Craig SOIG. 2. Prince, Brian L. Elections. CC. Osuna, James, OIG. Dickinson, John K. City Attorney. Marks, Wirt P. City Attorney. BCC. Date: Thursday the 19th of December 2024, 17 hours 51 minutes and 47 seconds. Subject: FOIA Request 12.13.24 Number 14. Mr. Prince, I am writing to formally respond to the FOIA request that you sent to this office on December 13, 2024. You requested documents regarding image of claim on screen. All responsive documents to this request are exempt from disclosure under the following provision of the FOIA statute as follows. They also are exempt under 2.2 to 3705.1(3) as work product compiled specifically for use in an active administrative investigation concerning a matter that is properly the subject of a closed meeting under Section 2.2-3711. For this purpose, the applicable section of 2.2-3711 is subsection 1, which also relates to personnel matters and investigations thereof. Finally, the information is also exempt from disclosure pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2 to 3705.3(7), which exempts investigative notes and correspondence and information furnished in confidence that were provided to or produced by or for the IG. This closes your FOIA request. Craig Johnson, CFE, SIG, SIGI. Deputy Inspector General, Office of the Inspector General, 900 East Broad Street, Suite 1500. Richmond, Virginia, 23219.